So a key part of show training for me is really in two stages. So first of all, as you can see here, I hang on it's an actual border or 5th canary show cage with a single perch. You can see some string at the top there. I'll normally give that a little dab of honey, and that encourages, there you go, the bird to stretch for it. And I actually believe that that helps a little bit with the alignment on the spangles on the back, which is obviously key to the lizard canary. Like I said, I move these cages around quite frequently, around the cages. Gets the birds used to going in and out on their own, because obviously you want to avoid handling the birds when it comes to getting them into the show cages, so you don't disrupt the markings and the spangles, etc. And then stage 2 for me, you probably just see in the background of this particular 5 canary show cage, is an actual lizard canary show cage, one I've adapted. Again, you can see it this time, a hook from the top with that piece of string dangling down. I've taken the door off this one, put some hooks on, put a hook onto the breeding cage door, and then that allows, when they're more comfortable, the birds to come in and out. You'll see a white D-hook drinker on the outside of that blue lizard canary show cage. That currently has some seed in it. Obviously normally there would be a drinker on there with water in, so to get the birds used to putting their head outside of the hole. Like I said, I'll have seed in there on this occasion. I'll probably put a piece of broccoli in there later, and then they'll feed on that. That'll get them used to it, and then after a week or two I'll actually pop some water in there so they can see where the water is. And although we have the medicine drinkers on the cages now as well at the lizard canary shows, it's kind of better as well that the birds also know where the D-hook drinkers are, so they can take on more fluid during the course of the show. There you go. So that is effectively what I do from a show training perspective. See, they're quite happy coming in and out of those wire cages. I'm sure the female on the one with the actual show cage will come out at some point, but maybe not before I stop filming. And yeah, that gives you an idea of the show training part. Obviously, because the bird room is not so deep, I'm kind of up close with the birds all the time, so they're kind of used to seeing me in here, up close to the cages. I'll literally sit on that stool there in front of those cages, and they'll happily come out and do whatever they need to do in that show cage. It doesn't bother them in the slightest. So there you go. That's just an idea of what we're doing now. And just to kind of highlight that the molt is pretty much almost over for me. There's 1 or 2 birds that are still coming through, but because I started breeding early, you know, quite frankly, you know, I think they're going to be out the molt quite quick. I tend not to have the lights on here at the minute, only if I'm in here doing what I need to do. And I'm a strong believer that that little bit of darkness helps them through the molt quicker. And one of the things I've also noticed is the birds are in the cages closer to the window are molting out slower than the birds that are at this end of the cages, where it is that little bit darker. So what I tend to do, what I have done this year, is after so long I've switched them round. So the birds that have been slower on the molt have been moved to this end, and the ones that are virtually through the molt are gradually moved to the other end of the row of cages. And as I film this, we are in, where are we now? Around about 20th of August, I guess, so or close to. So to have these birds through the molt already, pretty much, is pretty positive. I've not swept in here yet this morning. There used to be a lot of feathers in here about a month or so ago, and as you can see, before I sweep, hardly any feathers in here at all now. So not much more to go on these birds from a molting perspective. So there you go, that's just a little bit about show training and a little bit about molt. With that, I will stop filming. Thank you. So what you can see here, as well as using the bird baths that I put on the cages pretty much every day, as it gets closer to the show, I actually spray them with warm water, and it actually has a tiny bit of Johnson's baby shampoo in it, just a tiny bit to be fair. I put a good sort of hard jet of the spray on the legs and feet, and also the tails, just to kind of remove any dirt that's not being removed from the bird baths. But I give a light spray to the body, and I get lighter and lighter with that as it gets closer to the show. What I find is if the spangles aren't lining up properly on the back, gentle spraying, maybe 2 squirts or 3 squirts at a time during the day, normally helps the spangles start to lay properly and line up properly. The other thing I like to see, a good sign that the birds are in really good feather condition, is if you give them a light spray, you start to see the little droplets forming over the top of the feathers if you just give them 2 or 3 very light blasts rather than soak the birds. Okay, but that's a really good sign when you see those droplets that they're coming into really good feather condition. So when I'm not kind of working away, this is something I'll come in and do. It doesn't take me very long at all. The birds actually seem to quite like it as well. They actually almost wait for me to do it, so not doing any harm, but does them a lot of good. There you go. So as you can see, I've mentioned it before, I've got the 5/4 border show cages hanging on the outside of the cages with the string to make them stretch a little bit when they're in the cage. I've also got a lizard canary show cage hanging on the outside of cages as well. That also has a hook at the top with some string dangling down again, making them stretch a little bit, sort of work for it a little bit. And then what I tend to do to also get the birds into show cages. This is actually an over-year bird because I don't really want to show the current year brag birds close up at the moment, because obviously the show season's coming up. You'll see the drinker there with a bit of broccoli sitting in the top of it, so the birds will go looking for that, and then once they get used to that, I'll also pop some water in there, and that will get them used to the drinking hole, because of course, as you know, my cages don't actually have the drinking holes on. They have the fountain drinkers. So just to give you an idea what I do from a training point of view. And the other thing I'll do is I will move this cage around a little bit when I've got the birds in there. She's fairly used to the show cage because she's one of last year's birds anyway, although she's not been in a cage for a while because of the breeding season, of course. But yeah, just gives you an idea of what I'll do from a show training and preparation point of view. The other reason for the wire cages is it just makes it easier for catching the birds up. So they'll happily hop out into the wire cage. That then allows me to take the wire cage to the show cage door and let the birds fly through without me having to handle them at all and risk damaging any feathers, of course. Okay, and that's it from a very brief show prep. So I just wanted to explain a little bit about the lizard canary show cage. It's black. The inside of the cage is painted with what was used to be known as Dulux Summer Blue, but I'll post the mixing code in the screen so everybody can see it. Floor of the cage, the standard says that should be lined with white blotting paper. Blotting paper is quite hard to come by these days, so most people just use white copier paper. Show cage label is on the left hand side as you look at the cage. The show standard requires either the 2-hooked black drinker that you can see there by the head hole, or the 10ml medicine drinker that's black that you can see that has to be placed between the second and the third wire of the cage front on the left hand side. Now I actually tend to use both on the show cages, and most people do, I think, these days. Obviously I train my birds to drink through the head hole, but equally on my stock cages I actually have fountain drinkers, so again they're kind of used to those medicine style drinkers as well, so I kind of go belt and braces and do both, really, from a welfare perspective. Equally, if I'm kind of show secretary or show managing at a show, I'll go round, you know, checking that the birds are taking water, make sure they're not going downhill in any way. And if I have any concerns, I'll put the drinkers inside the cage, or make sure they get a medicine drinker. I tend to take spares with me to the show. And then finally, just so you're aware, in the corner there, you have a section for the bird seed. And I've started using these from Temu, so I can top them up during the show. There you go, it's a scoop where you can literally pour the seed in, and there you go. And I'll top that up again, actually. But yeah, just to give you an idea, and I'll be using this at the National on my own bird, and I'm actually giving a few away as well at the show to people that have exhibited. So there you go. That was just wanted to give newcomers just an insight as to what the process is regarding the show cage. This is actually an over-year silver hen, one that I've bred some really good youngsters off this year. And I'll send her out to the show. She's got quite a bit of white, as you can see, on the wings and the tails, but she's kept the markings quite well. She's kept the colour quite well. So yeah, why not put her in the show cage and let her get to a show and see what she does in the over-year classes. And that's it. So with that, I'll let you go. Thank you. Time for a big shout out to the show administrators and show managers out there. So none of this kind of happens by accident. So just wanted to highlight some of the things that happen in the background leading up to the shows. You can see my computer there with the show catalogue on for the National, as I kind of represent the LCA at the National Exhibition at Stafford. You can see the entry form there, some stamps, of course, and the wristbands that allow the entry to the show. Just coming up are some images of some of the paperwork and those postage stamps. Again, it's not cheap, this thing. Although I do the administration in terms of the show secretary role,
I actually think the hardest part is the show manager's role in terms of getting the staging up and getting everything prepared for everybody, to be fair. But we all do our bit, and that's what we do as well. There you can see the envelopes ready for posting with the show schedules that's basically gone out to people who we've invited or have requested entry forms for the National at Stafford. And with that, I wish all exhibitors the best of luck at this show. And part 2 of this episode will follow just some build up to the show, in me having the show cages prepped, birds going into the show cages. I won't show the labelling up, and then I'll do some footage from the National at Stafford with the build up, with the judging, and then the results. So that's something to look forward to in part 2. So again, best of luck to everybody, and I look forward to seeing you during the course of the 2025 show season. Thank you and goodbye.